CNN's Wolf Blitzer joining us now from Washington with more. So just how strong a figure was Sharon in Israel, Wolf?
He was a very formidable figure in Israel. He was involved literally in every Israeli war, going back to 1948, Israel's War of Independence, in 56, the Sinai Campaign, the Six-Day War in 1967, the Yom Kippur War in 1973. He had ups and he had downs. He was a fierce fighter. He believed strongly that in order for Israel to survive, you needed a strong army, a strong national security. You had to be tough in a tough neighborhood, if you will. At the same time, in his more recent years, when he was prime minister, he clearly evolved. He was willing to give up settlements back after Anwar Sadat, the president of Egypt, went to Jerusalem in Sinai as part of an Israeli-Egyptian peace treaty, later unilaterally withdrawing from Gaza. And he was moving in a direction that was clearly more moderate. He had a very hawkish reputation, but in recent years, in his recent years when he was prime minister, he moved in a more moderate direction, even establishing a personal relationship with the Palestinian Authority, President Mahmoud Abbas. But as you know, 8 years ago, he suffered a stroke, went into a coma, and has now passed away. He'll leave a mixed legacy in Israel, in the Middle East, and around the world. He did enormously powerful. He made enormously powerful decisions on the battlefield and also in the world of diplomacy. Some will remember him fondly, others not so much.
So, if he had not had that stroke almost 8 years ago, do you think, you mentioned pulling troops out of Gaza, do you think the troops would have been out of the West Bank too?
You know, he was moving in that direction. He clearly had evolved, and he became a strong supporter of what's called a two-state solution, Israel living alongside Palestine. And he was willing to make concessions. Now, the question is, were the concessions he was willing to make enough to satisfy the Palestinians? We'll never know, because he had a stroke and he went into a coma, and Ehud Olmert succeeded him as Prime Minister of Israel, who, by the way, similarly moved in that direction of accepting a two-state solution. But the historians and the diplomats, they'll debate that for a long time to come.